Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to What's the 504. I am your host, Christy B. If you are new, welcome to my channel. And if you are returning, welcome back. Okay, you guys, so I just wanted to give a quick update on some additional information that I have heard about according to the news station. So, in the Orrin and Orson West case, okay, if you're not familiar with the case, they were reported missing on December 21st by adoptive parents Jacqueline and Trezell West. The boys have not been found yet. Their birth names were Sincere and Classic. This has been an ongoing investigation. It has been about 6 weeks now since these boys were reported missing. And yeah, I don't feel like much progress has been made thus far. This is kind of sad that no real progress has been made in this case at all. So apparently the chief said, to just keep calling and giving as many tips as possible if you have any information on the case. So it was reported that in total, the police department, the California City Police Department, have received about 1,000 tips so far. They did come out and say, however, that the tips have been decreasing lately. Of course, now because we're at about 6 weeks here since the boys went missing, or let me rephrase that, were reported as missing, because of course a lot of us have our suspicions about the adoptive parents, and whether they're actually giving factual information or if this story is something that's just made up, because it really sounds ridiculous. So with that being said, they did speak with the lead investigator on the case, which is Brian Hansen. He didn't really want to show his face, so they kind of blurred out his face, but he was just, speaking about the case and about the tips that they've gotten so far, and just stating to continue to call. They said they did get a recent tip of a location where they were searching, and they didn't find anything, but then they received another call saying that there were they knew where the boys were, and there were some bones buried near the same location they had just searched. So they went back out there, and they did find some bones, but it was not human remains. They were reported as animal bones. Okay, so they were not reported as human remains. They were reported as animal bones. Okay. Outside of that, there was someone from the community that the news channel also spoke to about 3 days ago. I didn't get to hear a name, but they were talking to her because she was in the community, and she was saying how her and a city search group called California City Search, a lot of them have been out there again trying to help with the case, trying to help find these boys, and actually kind of keeping an eye on the West. So apparently she was out front in the neighborhood in Bakersfield where Trezell West's mom and stepdad live, and apparently that's where he's been living. And she reported that they have video footage that they have been in the backyard, like digging up holes and like getting rid of sheetrock and stuff, and taking all kinds of like sheetrock and different things out of there, and been putting it on a red truck and then traveling out to go, I guess, drop off whatever, and then they've been coming back. She says they've been doing that for the past few days at the time that she spoke to the news channel. So it's been about 2 or 3 days, but at that time she said they have been doing that for the past few days. And she says the entire time that she's been out there, the police department has not come out there to search that home. And she says, and actually when they were out there, she said the West actually reported them to the police, called the police, and said that that they were being harassed, and she said that they actually threatened them, but they reported to the police that they were being harassed or whatever. And she said when the police officer came out, that the police officer did confirm that they're not on this case. They have not searched the property. They have not searched, the parents' property. They've searched, of course, the adoptive parents, Jacqueline and Trezell West, but based on what she said, they've only searched the original home in California City. My understanding is they did not go back to the property that was in Bakersfield where they were living before they made the move in September 2020. And she said that the police officer, she has them on recording stating that they are not on this case. So that's a bit confusing, because Chief Walker has been reporting that Bakersfield police has been on this case, and they were a part of the investigation because they had the laboratory and the forensics or whatever to kind of help out on this case. So it's kind of concerning that she's reporting this police officer said, no, we're not on this case. They haven't checked any other houses. They haven't searched any houses in the Bakersfield area. So I don't understand what's with the mixed information here. Is Bakersfield on this case or not? Because the chief has been reporting that Bakersfield Police Department has been on this case. So we're getting mixed information now here. But then again, he did say only 2 agencies, but maybe that was confusing because maybe he meant 2 agencies total and not 2 additional agencies. But up until recently, he's been reporting that Bakersfield has been on this case. But if this cop came out to that residence in Bakersfield where the West family lives, and he's openly stated that, no, we are not on this case, and that is the West family's, the grandparents' house, so to speak, that's kind of concerning. So I don't understand why there haven't been any other search warrants for any of the other properties or locations that they have lived. That's kind of crazy to me because naturally, if you didn't find anything at the house that they were living in California City, wouldn't the next option be to go back to where they were residing before and see if there's any suspicious information there, any possible evidence there that something could have happened to the boys there? I'm just confused about that. And even the parents, of course, to me, that would be the next place to go. Okay, we searched their residence. What about the parents, right? Because, of course, naturally, if that's their child, not all parents are going to have the, if their child did commit a crime, especially when it comes to like killing young little babies, right? If there's any crime involved, we don't know what's going on. We don't know if they're alive. We don't know if they're passed, whatever. We wish for the best. But what I am saying, if, someone is guilty of harming a child, their parents may not want to report their own child for doing harm. Of course, they love their child, so their natural instinct is probably to say, well, I'm going to protect my child. So where's the next best place to put any evidence that might incriminate them, right? If it's not going to be at their own house where a crime or some form of harm may have occurred, then the next best thing is, okay, I'm going to bring this to my mom's house or my dad's house because the police are going to come here, but they probably won't go there. Or by the time they go there, they could help get rid of whatever. So the idea that none of the grandparents or anything at this point, that none of their homes or items have been searched or requested, their phones, nothing of that nature is kind of concerning because that makes it super easy. If there was some evidence that possibly could have linked them to what may have occurred with Orrin and Orson, that's disturbing. Because that means that's evidence that could get destroyed or hidden or whatever. Because if you're only searching that person's house, I just don't see how that's going to help us find these boys any sooner. There should be like a broader investigation. Again, I'm not a police officer, so maybe there are legalities where they can't just go and serve a warrant over there. But again, this is concerning 2 young kids. We haven't gotten any information. We haven't gotten enough information to me about the other people that have said that they've seen these boys. Besides the West reporting that, they went missing on the 21st. We haven't seen enough information to show who else saw these boys. Why aren't they given a statement? Like, why isn't there more information about that? Right? And then they're saying that they did question the other children in the household, and they said, yeah, they saw them on the 19th. Well, children aren't really that definitive when it comes to days and dates, but they can say, okay, it's been a while since I've seen my 2 brothers. I haven't seen them in several days, right? So again, we don't know if this is what they were told to say, so they can have the hopes of maybe going back home to their parents. You know what I mean? I mean, if I was trying to cover something up, right? The first thing if the police talk to you, tell them you saw the kids on the 19th. So, because a lot of times kids don't have a concept of dates or whatever, but they definitely can have a concept of time, like how long has it been? Or it seems like a long time, like several days or maybe a week or, something like that. So, I don't know. But, I mean, even with that questioning, they should also be able to ask the kids, like, what was the living situation like? What was it like living at home with your parents? Were they, very strict? Were they, good, happy-go-lucky parents, or were they very strict? Because they have been reported. I don't know this to be fact, okay? But on another channel, it was reported that these kids were like super, super well behaved. Like they asked for permission before they would even speak. They had to ask permission to speak, which is kind of crazy because young kids, I don't even see how you can have that type of control over your children without some type of force. Like they have to ask permission to even open their mouths and say something. Like, and Okay, but again, this is just speculation. This is from some, another source, but not reported by like police officers or anything like that. So of course it's speculation. I don't know if it's true, but if it is true, that's absolutely ridiculous that a child would have to ask permission to even open their mouth, to say anything. So, but I would think that counseling services, the CPS, I would think that they would get them with a counselor who would be able to detect if there's any type of abuse or neglect or anything like that going on that would cause the children to be so restricted or obedient. Like, that's just, I don't know, maybe it's just me. But another thing I wanted to report it on was the resident that had been out there and said they've been out at the West parents' house, the grandparents, or Trezell West's mom and stepdad's house. She also reported that when they would go out to the California City area and they were like on their searches and different things, she said that it actually has started getting to the point where people were following them and threatening them, like not wanting, almost as if to like not wanting them there trying to do the search, not wanting them there to try to find Orrin and Orson West, aka Classic and Sincere. So I'm trying to understand, why would that be? What community would not want to find these boys? Why would they be trying to stop them from doing any searching? I don't understand that. Like, that's just crazy. I don't understand it, but that is what she was reporting. She said that they were actually threatening, and then she said there was some people coming out and stating that they were actually being threatened, and they were told that they don't need, they shouldn't say anything. They need to keep their mouths closed and whatever like that. But my thing is, why is there so much secrecy? I have been saying since the beginning of this case and seeing how things have been playing out, that there's a lot of secrecy around this situation. There's a lot of hush mouth going on here, and I don't understand why. Like, is there someone else in this neighborhood that's running things, and there's some other more sinister stuff going on, and everybody's afraid to talk? And maybe if Orrin and Orson, maybe Jacqueline West and Trezell didn't do something to these kids, but they know who has them and why they have them or something, and they're not going to speak because they're concerned about, I don't know. It's just kind of odd that, if people are coming to search for these little boys, the community wants to get involved too. So why would you be trying to run away people that are coming there? Why are you trying to be territorial at a time when 2 young boys are missing? They're under the age of 5. Like, I don't see the logic in that and why they would be doing that, anything else that I missed? I think I basically covered everything, you guys. I just wanted to give you an update on any new information that I hear, because I really hope that we can find these boys soon. I just want answers. We need answers. It's just, case has been going on for too long. I don't know. We just not any closer to finding these boys. I wanted to mention too, as well, there was a prayer, a community prayer, I would say, because they don't want to call it a vigil because they want to stay positive and hopeful that the boys are still alive. But there was a prayer in Bakersfield this time, not in California City. There was one in California City last week, and they actually called it a vigil. But there was the one held in Bakersfield, and it's supposed to be a prayer session. I think that she mentioned that someone from I want to say the NAACP was going to come out. So it was quite a few important people that were going to be coming out there. And it's just the community trying to get together to pray and to be hopeful about getting Orrin and Orson West returned home as soon as possible, you guys. So I think that's all I have for you at this time. I think we talked about the video the last time. So the video from December the 19th, the footage that the news channel did show, it showed the 2 adults. It showed 4 kids getting into the vehicle and 2 adults leaving, 2 adults returning, no kids with them. And we were questioning, okay, well, where the hell was Orrin and Orson West? And so I did confirm that initially that Jacqueline and Trezell West said that they had actually taken the kids shopping prior to dropping them off at the grandparents' house. So then I still have to wonder, then you couldn't have left the 3 and 4-year-old at the house if you went out to the stores and shopping and stuff. So where were they? There were only 4 kids that went with you guys. What we don't have clarity on is, what is the time frame, the timestamps on when they left and when they returned. That would be, to me, some critical information as well. How many hours were they gone? What time were they seen leaving? And what time did they return? We know that they left with there was 4 kids and 2 adults that entered that vehicle. So we're missing 2 kids. Well, what time did they return when they returned alone? You know what I mean? And then, is there any more footage? What about the footage from the 20th? Like, do we see 2 adults leaving the house again at any point in time, or carrying any type of bags or anything that could be suspicious as to thinking maybe it's the boys? We need more clarity on these things. I just don't understand why there's not much information being given. Like, literally, they have over 1,000 tips at this point, and they're like, none have been proven to be credible. So I just don't understand why there's so much unknown around this case. Too much is still unknown to say it's been 6 weeks, a month and a half, and we still really are at square one. And the parents are not being considered, the adopted parents are not being considered suspects. And I already uploaded the other video where it was reported that Jacqueline Trezell West were out at a specialty store for adults. Which, again, everyone's like, how can you be out doing this when your 2 boys are missing and when you don't have your biological kids home with you either? And of course, the resident that was out in Bakersfield outside of Trezell West's mom and stepdad's house, she stated the same thing. Like, how do you have time to go out to a specialty adult store when you have 2 kids missing? 2 kids that you called your own, that you adopted as your own. So, you guys, there's still too many questions around this. I really, really hope that we get some more answers. I really hope that we can get these boys home one way or the other. Let's try to get some closure and some peace for the biological family on top of that. Like, this is just crazy. Okay, you guys. So I'm signing off for the night, you guys. Thank you for checking out What's the 504. If you haven't done so yet, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up and click the subscribe button, and I will be back with more videos soon. Okay, smooches.